Shalom, first and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashim, Yahushua Bashim, Rakakadash. I want to give double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone who will well and teach well with sound doctrine, and peace and blessings to the elect. So, this is an article that I seen, in fact, it was just going wrong, and then when I just seen this article, I was just rejoicing, because all I could think about is Ezekiel 33:3. When this comes to pass, lo, it will come to pass. Then shall they know that a prophet had been among them. Roughly paraphrasing. So I was like, yes, because I'm like, because in my head I was like, yes. I said to my brother, okay, they were saying conspiracy theory, this and that, but okay, let's see now what they have to say. I want to see the look on their faces now, because it's the timing of all this as well. Just you seeing all these prophecies kind of come together, just like what you have just like what you have with Russia. The hooks being put back into Russia's mouth. Are you having the talks of major food shortages, and then Marcus comes around the block again. They're talking about again the microchip implant that lets you pay with your hand. Now they talked about palm payments. Now they even talked about a chip, but it's funny how they bring this out like this in 2022. You can see the woman's hand is literally, it looks like it's going over the e-reader. Just like when you have a card that's contactless, and you can just wave it over the machine, the card machine like this, or the card reader. It's the same way it looks like she's waving her hand to make a purchase. I'll go into this a little bit, but brothers, keep your head up, man, because this is a sign. This is ultimately a sign from Yahweh Bashim Yahushua that we even got that long left. Let me see. This is as you can see here from the caption, a woman paying for her meal in a cafe using contactless payment chip implanted in her hand. I remember Esau works gradually, just like I use this analogy all the time. Just like, for example, you have a frog, if you're a frog, and you're put inside you just throw it inside a pot of boiling water. You're gonna kind of know, okay, there's something funny here. It's like these guys are trying to cook me alive. Whereas if you are put inside, if the frog is put inside a pot of cold water and the heat is gradually turned up, little by little, the frog won't realize what's going on until it's too late. And it's the same thing that Esau's playing on the minds of the majority of these people. Now I hear them say, oh, we unwoke this, we unwoke that. I'm like, oh, okay. They're like, oh, I want to enjoy this, I want to enjoy that. Because they don't have that solid foundation, so it's easy for them to break. But, you know where we're going to. Hold on. Where is it? Ah, here it is. So let me just...
Your council or social housing provider does not want you to know this.
And it causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand in their foreheads. And just like you see from the article, that is the time that we're coming into. Now, it's getting harder and harder for people to refute, the undeniable, because they're like, oh, these guys are crazy, these guys are this, they've been saying this for how long, just having everything to say under the sun. But it's like, oh, wait a minute, they just said this and this will happen. Oh wait, they just said this and this will happen. Esau's words keep falling back on him because he keeps saying one thing and doing another thing, which is kind of showing his nature as well. And that word causes, really goes into the word poeo, if I'm not mistaken, which means to construct or to fashion. Because they're gonna fashion a system that's gonna make a lot of people break and take this charagma. And so like the ones who are not gonna break ultimately are the ones that Yahweh Hashem Yahushai chose. But if Yahweh Hashem Yahushai isn't with you, you're just gonna break, man. And it's just gonna be embarrassing to really see it, to really say, oh, I did this. Imagine you are a brother in the truth, or if you thought you had something, but you got a bit proud, and you're like, oh, this, I did all of this and I did all of that. You remember you have to stay humble as well, man. Because there are times, of course, we go off at times, but like a quote that I was reading said, it was an old Japanese proverb, and it was like something like 4 7 times and get back up on the 8th. That's what we have to keep doing, man. Don't lose patience, and don't fold under pressure, because hey, that's the one being in the truth. That's the one thing you can't do, is fold under pressure, man. Because if you fold under pressure, then you must not be sound in what what you're involved with. To receive a mark in their right hand and their forehead, like I just said, that mark goes into the word charagma, which is another way to say an incision, a mark. In fact, let's get it. Charagma. Blue Letter Bible. Salakia. Most of you will probably know, but for those of you who may not know and are just stumbling across this video, let me get it. Here is a stamp, an imprinted mark. So I think of you're seeing the different notions, just like for example, it's almost like that's basically Esau branding you, just like you have those horses or those cows that may get brandished with, I believe it's a hot iron. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe they get branded with they get branded with something to show basically who their owner is. And you would have shown that you bowed down to the system. You would have shown that you bowed down to Esau. But that's not the way to go, man. And the precept in Ezekiel I was referring to before, that I said I roughly paraphrased. You know what? Let me get that one as well. Because even though I may paraphrase a certain scripture or something, a lot of the time I will say, you know what? Let me get it. This is Ezekiel 33 and 33. And when this cometh to pass, lo, it will come, then they shall know that a prophet hath been among them. Because when those things really start to hit a climax and these things really start to amplify and really kick off, they're going to know, oh, these were truly the men of the Lord. These were truly the words of the Lord. Because if they, the things that these guys were saying, it was all true. Because if it wasn't, we wouldn't be seeing, these things happen before our eyes. And that's when they're gonna start to like, okay. We need to go find some of these guys. We need to, that's when we need to ask them questions. We need to do this. We need to do that. But hold on, after you misuse the prophets, after you scoffed, scorned, called names, did everything under the sun, called him weird, everything under the sun. But as soon as he find out, oh wait, this affects me, which is common with Jake and just people in general. They don't really care about something until they find out it directly affects them. And at that point, most likely too late. Okay, and when this comes to pass, wow, it's like I've already read this first. Let me go back to this is because the 30-year-old doesn't need to use a bank card or his mobile phone to pay. Instead, he simply places his left hand near the contactless card reader and the payment goes through. And the contactless card reader is this thing over here. If you're not from the UK, if you're from the States, I don't know if you know it by that name. That's why I'm just showing you. The reactions I get from cashiers are priceless. Let me go further down. And walletmor, and it's funny that that walletmor was involved, because I don't know if you brothers remember. I may try to look for the video, but I remember walletmor was kind of doing an advertisement, and they were talking about the chip, the payment, and the payment on the chip as well. I believe it was the elder Itazawam that might have posted a video. That might have put the video on his backup channel, which is Stay in the Spirit 144 bar, if I'm not mistaken. It's like, yeah, I might have got that one wrong actually, but off the top of my head, I think it's that. But anyway, let's continue reading. Walletmor, which weighs less than a gram and is a little bigger than a grain of rice. We've heard this for a very long time. Around the size of a grain of rice. Around, it's this small. It can do this. It's very compact. It has loads of uses. It can do this and it can do that. This is like people. Oh, it's very small. It's very compatible. It doesn't really seem like it would. Not saying that any of this is me saying this. I'm just getting into the minds of people in general. Oh, this won't cause any damage to my body. Oh, oh, this seems interesting. Maybe oh, what's this? Because something that I found is the average person has a very short attention span, and they can be easily excited, but by something that they see is new. Is comprised of a tiny microchip and an antenna encased in a biopolymer, a natural source material similar to plastic. So they're giving you like the material, and it seems like a bit of the dimensions as well. The technology, let me just jump to here. The technology walletmor uses is near field communication, or NFC, the contactless payment system in smartphones. And let me see, I might have that on my phone as well, Oh, Salaki, I don't have it. You don't look, I have it on my phone. I was gonna show you if I did, because I know that I've seen the NFC button before. For many of us, the idea of having such a chip implanted in our body is an appalling one. By 2021 survey, in fact, I know a scripture I was thinking of. This is America is nothing but modern day. America is nothing. It's the daughter of Babylon. So of course there are gonna be similarities. A lot of the wickedness, it's heavy in witchcraft, but they do it in such a sense, that to the average person that doesn't, like to look into stuff, they go, oh, this is science, or this is normal, this is this is that. But that's not in the case. That's not really what it is. That's them really using their deception, which they're very good at. They're very good at being deceptive and conniving and things of that nature. But I believe this is an Amos. Salaki, bear with me 1 minute. Salaki is in Romans. Let me start from 2. Romans 11 and 2. God hath not cast away his people, which he foreknew. What ye knew not, the scripture saith of Elias, how he maketh intercession, to the Most High against Israel, saying, Lord, they have killed thy prophets. What is this? They have killed thy prophets, Salakia, and digged down thy altars, and I am left alone, and they seek my life. Because they, back in the day, it's the same thing. What's going on today is the same thing that used to happen in the ancient world. They did nothing but they pursued, the prophets. They seek to kill the prophets because they weren't being told what they wanted to hear. They were being told the blunt truth. And that's why in Galatians 4:16 it says, have I then therefore become your enemy because I have told you the truth? Because people have this way, like when we, talk about the scriptures as well, they're like, listen, why are you getting annoyed with me? This is ultimately the decree, of the Lord. For example, I'm reading the law being against homosexuality, or you can't eat certain foods, or so something of that nature. Say something in the law, for example, and like, okay, the law is not my decree, but I know that I have to follow it. We have to follow it to the best of our ability, because of 9 times out of 10, it's often a Jake that I'm talking to. I could say 10 times out of 10, but there may be that odd 1 or 2. But what saith the answer of the Most High unto him? I have reserved to myself 7,000 men who have not bowed the knee to the image of Baal. And applying that to now, the Lord has reserved men that are not gonna bow knee to the system, and they're not gonna take that charagma. And it's not down to the guys, the men, it's not down to what the quote unquote men want to do, or how they feel about the situation, or necessarily how to it's not down to the individual. The Lord ultimately chose these individuals and be like, listen, you guys, yous are not gonna bow knee to the system. The Lord is gonna put that strong spirit upon those particular men, and those men back then and those men now who are not gonna bow a knee to the system are the elect. Starting with 144,000, and of course, the rest of the men, women, and children that are predestined for salvation. But that image of Baal is a sculpture, is a idolatrous image that you would literally bow to. But this charagma is something when you look at it to a certain degree, it's something that you're submitting to, and when you bow, you submit as well. So this charagma is something that you're submitted to because Esau's cracking down on you with pressure. And brothers, man, I know I wasn't the only one rejoicing when I see an article. I'll leave the article in the description, and I'll see if I can find that walletmor video to remind you brothers of what I'm talking about. But I pray this lesson was edifying onto the Akim and Akwat that were listening. And until next time, I want to say shalom.